So I'm about to use 4 words in a row that I haven't used in this way before, and those 4 words are: Speaker Pelosi was right when she decided to include Taiwan on her visit to Asia, or if she'd just been going to Taiwan, that would have been right. She's the highest-ranking American to be in Taiwan in 25 years. The last person to be there at that rank was the Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, when he went 25 years ago, and he was right to send that message that we believe in democracy and we believe that the Taiwanese people have a right to that democracy. That's exactly the message that Speaker Pelosi is taking with her today. China proved in Hong Kong that there is no one country, 2 systems.
I think it's important that the Speaker did go to Taiwan. I don't think the Chinese get to tell members of Congress where they can go. It's not uncommon for American lawmakers to go to Taiwan. Senator Blunt pointed out we've had speakers go there before. Look, I think it's important for us to stand up for a democratic island directly involved in international commerce that elects its own leaders. And we know what the Chinese would like to do to Taiwan, just exactly what they did to Hong Kong. So I approve of her trip. I think she did the right thing.
Today, the Justice Department filed a lawsuit against the state of Idaho. The suit seeks to hold invalid the state's criminal prohibition on providing abortions as applied to women who are suffering medical emergencies. Under a federal law known as the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, or EMTALA, every hospital that receives Medicare funds must provide necessary stabilizing treatment to a patient who arrives at an emergency room suffering from a medical condition that could place their life or health in serious jeopardy. In some circumstances, the medical treatment necessary to stabilize the patient's condition is abortion. This may be the case, for example, when a woman is undergoing a miscarriage that threatens septic infection or hemorrhage, or is suffering from severe preeclampsia. When a hospital determines that an abortion is the medical treatment necessary to stabilize a patient's emergency medical condition, it is required by federal law to provide that treatment.
Shares of Uber popped more than 16% Tuesday morning after the company reported positive quarterly cash flow for the first time ever. While it posted a second quarter loss, Uber generated free cash flow of $382 million and beat Wall Street expectations for quarterly revenue. Uber also forecast third quarter profit above estimates as more people have come to rely on its services for transportation and food delivery. The company also added more drivers and delivery agents to its fleet in the quarter, taking their total number to an all-time high of about 5 million, and easing concerns that soaring gas prices were deterring them from signing up. Uber's net loss of $2.6 billion was largely hurt by investments in companies such as India's Zomato. A source told Reuters Uber is likely to sell its stake in the Indian food delivery firm on Wednesday. Revenue from Uber's rideshare business surged 120% to $3.5 billion in the second quarter, boosted by office reopenings and a spike in travel demand. Uber's better-than-expected results helped drive a 14% gain in shares of rival Lyft, which is scheduled to report results on Thursday. Stocks ended lower Tuesday as geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and China flared during House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's trip to Taiwan. The Dow fell nearly 1.25%, the S&P 500 dropped 0.2%, while the Nasdaq ended down fractionally. Payne Capital Management's president, Ryan Payne, said equities investors should look past Pelosi's visit to Taiwan.
Everyone's very, very nervous about what's going to happen with China, what's going to happen with Taiwan, and with Nancy Pelosi being there right now, what kind of response you're going to get out of China. I think that's the real issue right now. But if you look at the fundamentals of the market right now, markets really are driven by earnings, and earnings are coming in better than expected. And fundamentally, the economy right now is not broken. This isn't your father's recession. It's a very light recession, if any recession at all. Unemployment's low. Interest rates are going to start to equalize here. The Fed's going to start to become more dovish. These are all reasons to reposition your portfolio, get invested, and be bullish.
Shares of chip makers heavily exposed to China fell as Pelosi touched down in Taiwan. Shares of AMD rose more than 2.5% ahead of its quarterly results after the bell, but the stock fell in extended trading after the chip designer forecast third quarter revenue below estimates. Shares of U.S. defense companies rallied for much of the session and ended with gains. The U.S. is Taiwan's main supporter and arms supplier. Shares of Caterpillar tumbled nearly 6% after the industrial bellwether warned of a bigger drop in demand for its excavators in China, piling on more pain amid supply chain disruptions. And finally, shares of Uber jumped almost 19% after the ride-hailing firm reported positive quarterly cash flow for the first time ever and forecast upbeat third quarter operating profit.
15-year-old Anwar Musaad lost his right leg in a landmine explosion. He's one of thousands who have lost their limbs during Yemen's brutal 7-year war.
I came today to change the artificial limb because it has become short. I have pain, and I wanted to extend it or change it because I have been using it for more than a year. And I felt pain 2 weeks ago.
The conflict has led to skyrocketing demand for prosthetics in Yemen. This center in Sana'a is run by the health ministry and supported by the Red Cross, but staff here say they can't keep up with demand.
We have an abnormal increase of cases in the center. There's almost, if not more, a 300% increase in the number of cases due to the war situation in Yemen, some of which are caused by remnants of war, landmines, as well as explosions.
After being fitted with artificial limbs, patients need help learning to walk again. Amin Hajar runs a private clinic. He says motor disability is becoming a growing issue in Yemen.
The rate of motor disability is large in Yemen. Before the war in 2015, the official rate of motor disability was about 3%, and it was considered a very high number. Now, the available figures show that more than 10% of Yemenis suffer from motor injuries, which is also considered one of the highest rates in the world.
Sana'a and northern Yemen have faced thousands of airstrikes from a Saudi-led coalition that intervened in the country's civil war in 2015. In April, both sides in the conflict agreed to a UN ceasefire proposal, the first comprehensive agreement in a war that has killed tens of thousands of people and pushed Yemen to the brink of famine.